lounging, son.
Welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name's Ryan. Back with me again. I got my homeboy Mahdi Khene with me.
So,
Talking some Steel Streets, issue number 3. First off, I had to open the book up completely because I love this fucking cover. That's an homage to the Turtles number 2, right? Is the cover?
exactly. Yeah, the Mausers. Yeah. I wanted to do except I flipped it. I wanted to have I think in that one the Ninja Turtles are in the reflection, and the bad guy is the centerfold. I did a little reversal with the bad guy in the reflection.
Yeah, I love this.
This issue is very much an homage. There's a lot more little turtle DNA in it than I think the other ones.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that I think each issue, like as of the time we're recording this, issue 7 just dropped, so it's end of season 1 of Steel Street. So
yeah.
It's funny because like I see how you just kind of slowly kind of go less into the the references or like
right
homage of turtles or whatever or the other stuff. It's like it's still in the DNA, but it's like it's going further and further away. Like
sure,
I can't wait to talk 7 with you, to be honest.
Oh man. Oh, did you got it? Okay, cool.
Yeah, that fucking comic was so good. But anyways, we're talking number 3. So
yes, it goes from being kind of a sibling to like a distant cousin of Ninja Turtles as far as the thing goes.
Yeah.
This one though, I remember I wanted to do the classic. I forget what I was reading or watching or listening to, but it was they were talking about the classic Kirby way of telling comics, where you have the splash page and then the double page spread.
Yes.
So I wanted to do the splash page with the title, and it just throws you right into the action. So you immediately say, take that, scummy. You have no idea what's going on. And then you turn the page and you get the double spread of the whole scene that's mid-action,
Yeah, this is
a spread I'm very proud of.
One of my favorite spreads for sure that you've done. I mentioned it before too, like the way you do motion for real. Like I love the way you depict motion. I think it's something that as a fan, as somebody that does not draw, I think it's like sometimes it's not executed very well, or if, to me it falls flat, even in mainstream comics that come out. Like I'm not
Sure.
I can't think of a particular instance, but sometimes it just feels kind of lifeless. You know what I mean, when they're trying to do it, and I think you do it in a great way. I've seen forgot which one issue it was, but with the car.
With a car.
It's a car like speeding through. I think you pasted up over it.
We
talked about it.
Yeah. Season episode 6, issue 6.
Yeah.
See, I think about these like a TV show.
It's all good. I mean, yeah, they are episodes. I mean, it's episodic in nature is what comic books are. So
absolutely. I don't reference a lot of things. I usually just kind of draw off the dome, especially when it comes to figures. So a lot of my stuff I think is exaggerated, and I think in that you feel the motion, and also the tenets of making comics the Marvel way, where you want to show them sort of like, if you see the 3 guys, there's 4 guys there. The one pointing down, he's at the end of his action. The guy in the middle is at the middle of his action, and the guy on the right is at the beginning of his action.
Right.
It's like you get kind of a subconscious flow like that, sort of.
So you're telling me you don't put a headband on and pose for any of these things?
I mean, I wear that. That's a Tuesday. What I mean? And even there, like, there's a little, if you read that bubble, screw that, Rocco, we're the violet lizards. That's obviously a little nod to the purple dragons from Ninja Turtles 1.
So before I go into this, we've talked about how you mix, traditional and digital, right? Like I know that the tones are all digital. What if this was traditional?
Let's play a game throughout this issue then.
Oh, God damn it. All right.
Yeah, this one's a big mix. This one has a lot of splicing.
This looks traditional to me. Like just looking at the way the boot is, that doesn't look. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm putting you to the test, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell because there's a lot of digital here, just in terms of tones, where it's the shirts or it's the the whole background.
I remember this one was digitally done on the iPad on the 1 train. Going.
I love that you can remember exactly where you were. That's dope.
Oh yeah, because I remember the lady next to me was this Danish lady was talking to me about it. She's like, "Oh, you're drawing ninjas." It's very, very, very sweet.
Here we go, dude. I love this. Another one.
Yeah, and I think about this as like if you see it, it's the opening of a TV show. I think about comics a lot like TV, where I try to kind of pace it like an episode of a show. And here it was really the opening is like dun dun, and then it goes time to pace come, and you get that big climax, and then it cuts right away to the next scene, you know, just to kind of get
Traditional?
digital.
Damn it. All right.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna get this wrong most of the time. I gotta shout out the lettering though. I love your hand lettering.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
And then so it cuts to the next scene, and in this one, I wanted to. Here you can start to see more my fascination with Francine,
Yeah.
as I start to kind of turn her into a more main character. Where before she was kind of a throwaway in episode one. She was kind of the character that was there to bounce ideas off of Hank.
Right.
But then I guess as you draw, you sort of get to, you fall for the character that you fall for.
Yeah. This right here,
Mm.
great panel.
Oh,
I love this panel, dude. I love the way she's holding the cigarette.
Yeah, those extra long chicken fingers.
Yeah. Yeah, Francine basically to me, she's the co-star of the book at this point. I mean, where
Big
you
time.
are in Steel Streets, I think she's equally as important as Hiroshi.
Oh, even maybe more so.
Yeah.
But those two pages are practical.
Okay.
The ones before.
These ones? Yeah, see, it's so fucking hard to tell.
I mean, I think that's the goal though, is to not,
No, I mean, yeah, I think that's good. I think that
if my style changed drastically between the iPad and the pen, then it'd be. I think I digitally I just try to recreate what I do practically.
yeah, I think it's pretty crazy that the technology is there to where
It's amazing.
To the naked eye you can't even tell, and that the styles, like the way the lines are basically identical. Like I
Right.
can't tell the difference between that and that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then kind of giving you a glimpse into Francine's life, what she's doing, and there's a line at the bottom of the left-hand page, where she's talks about Carson.
Billy Crystal.
Yeah, Billy. I actually looked up who was a guest on the show in October 1986, and it was Billy Crystal. Just to show you what it gets how meta this comic gets.
Yeah, I mean the research you're doing just to find out who's on the fucking Carson show is pretty funny. Yeah.
Just in case somebody looks at me and they go like, "Hey, Billy Crystal wasn't on that show in 1986."
Yeah.
I'm like, no, he was.
Yeah, I love these scenes of it reminds me this is what like reminds me so much of like the early Turtle stuff and Mirage is when you would see just like these scenes of like New York City, the tone, like the tones and stuff. I love that about the early Turtle stuff and seeing New York. Like,
yeah, same. And I liked, the accessibility of those comics because it didn't seem like it was all gridded out, or it seemed like it were just two guys drawing. And so I never felt the pressure to make my perspective perfect, or to make it was all kind of, if it reads, then it's fine. That's how it even though not even fine, it's good because there's a mood that comes with the wonkiness or the jankiness of it.
I totally agree with that. I think that it doesn't need to be perfect with the perspective. It doesn't need to be perfect with anatomy. Like, to me, like that's the difference, with comics. To me, and that's when I was saying like falling flat or kind of lifeless, is when people try to make it too perfect.
Sure.
And I love Alex Ross, like I do, but sometimes it's like it's just too photorealistic, and it's like
sure.
I mean, I love, like I said, I like his art. Kingdom Come is one of my favorite books. But to a certain point, it's like I want to read comics more for this kind of stuff, for like the stuff you can't see in a fucking movie.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and because I write my stories, I shoot from the hip a lot of the time, and so between these two pages, I was like, I want to turn Francine into a badass. Like I want her to be, I want people to be surprised by, you think she's just a pencil pusher at the Bureau for Mutation Rehabilitation, but no, she's a gangster.
Oh yeah, dude, I love this. Look at this bandana, Chucks, war paint, my lucky Glock.
Kind of Rambo the shit out of this. And then
Okay,
this one,
yeah.
just obscene. That one was
Practical?
practical. Yeah,
Okay.
this was hopefulness in your voice. Like this is real, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I got to think like, do you ever consciously think of stuff that you want to draw practical as opposed to digital? Is there ever that thing like where I kind of want to have this as an original piece of art?
Not so much. Not
No.
really. Yeah, I don't really think about the after, because for me, comic book making is all about the moment, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I always say this, that I really think the page is supposed to be turned. And so if someone is lingering too long on a page because of the art or because of the words or something, then I'm not doing my duty as a comic book maker, you know? I want people to go to be so excited by the story that they breeze through the book. And so when I'm doing it, it's just about the moment. I'm not really thinking about, whether I can sell the art or whether I can, hang it up or whatever. I
For
just
sure.
kind of I just go for whatever would be the path of least resistance to what I want to get on the page.
That makes sense. Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
I think we definitely have talked about this, you and I, about that, about like
Yeah.
where I felt bad because I read a comic book too quick,
Yeah.
and then somebody told me like, no, that's the point. You're supposed to
Exactly.
get through it. You're not supposed to sit there. You can go back and read it a second time if you want to pour over the art, you know.
That's the beauty of it. Yeah, you can
But
read it a million times.
yeah,
And you're supposed to, because you miss things. It's like watching a movie like twice or three times, you know?
no, for sure. I mean, I think that it's definitely true with your stuff. Even well, probably more so when I go through it with you because you point out stuff that I may have kind of missed when I read
Sure.
it the first time. Yeah, I love like stuff like this, dude. Like,
Yeah. And like, stuff like this is just me thinking it's purely I recently rewatched Terminator 1
okay,
and just the vibe. And then I saw a little bit of RoboCop. It's just the 80s over the top. So this guy's a delivery truck driver and he's like, this is my last chance. This is what I have to do. And he like presses the desk, but he just gets his head cut off, you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's pure high octane. Just how ridiculous can we make this?
It's funny you mentioned RoboCop because I read the RoboCop Terminator book for the first time,
Oh,
and I was going through
who does that book?
Frank Miller and Walt Simonson.
What? I've never even come across it.
Yeah, I hadn't heard about it until it was on the Kayfabe channel, and for whatever reason, I hadn't read it. You know, like especially with Steel Streets, like kind of being so like in my head and like knowing RoboCop, like I kept thinking about RoboCop, and I was like, oh man, I gotta get that comic. And
Yeah.
I think I was halfway through issue one, and
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I didn't own it before, but I went on Amazon. I bought RoboCop on Blu-ray because I haven't seen it since I was a
Uh,
kid, and I
yeah.
haven't watched it yet. But
Oh, you haven't watched it? Oh,
well, I was waiting for it to come in the mail, but I
it's
haven't seen it in
amazing.
a long time. I can't wait because I remember like loving that movie. I had the action figures and shit when I was a kid.
Yeah, same. There's so many things about the movie that I forgot just how gruesome it is. Just some things stuck with me as a kid, but otherwise I was just like, what? This
Yeah,
actually happened? No way.
yeah.
In this issue, I really got into the storytelling part of it
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know, there's a few acts, I guess, or a few storylines. You're following Hiroshi and then you're following Francine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you see, so she gets into this situation right here. She says freeze. The head clan, a soldier comes up to her, and then there's a little suspense in her eyes. They tap. It's like, oh, how is she going to get out of this one? And
Mm-hmm.
then you turn the page, and it hits you earlier in the day where you're going to follow Hiroshi's story and how he's going to get into the same. He's going to cross paths with Francine, and I use dialogue as a way to kind of bridge that gap where you hear the same dialogue that happened on the page before again in the next page. Is all I'll point it out when we get there.
Yeah, I want to point this out. I love that he's just writing on the back of this fucking truck.
Yeah, I made him.
It's like he's this dude's like the main like hero of this book, and he's just like he doesn't
Yeah,
have transport. I'm just a fucking hop on, you know?
yeah. And I made him extra small because I
Yeah,
really want
it
to look
just looks
like a
hilarious.
kid. Yeah, just kind of like dun, 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 dun. And he's throwing trash in the trash can. He's like he's just not doesn't really know what to do.
Dude, this is fucking good stuff right here. I love
And
this.
and this is where I use the dialogue. So you see, she says it's you hear what they're saying, what they were saying in the first the pages right before.
Yeah, right here. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. It's a way to kind of because time is, in movies, it's, you have sound, you have lighting, you have a lot of different things to denote time and actual time. You can actually use that.
Right, right.
Comics, you have to use kind of like tricks to, yeah, how do you put a timestamp on something in a comic that people can read it however fast or slow that they want.
I also just love this sequence of panels because he's just walking, he's like thinking to himself, and then he hears it, right? And then
Yeah.
again, like this is all inner dialogue, and then just the call to action. He fucking
Yeah.
whips out his sword, jumps up, jumps to the roof, and then he's
Yeah.
standing there, right? Like,
And he's waiting for his cue.
yeah,
He's like, now it's time.
this is again, dude, fucking
Digital.
yeah, yeah. I figured this was digital because my first instinct was say it wasn't. So
No.
I figured I was
You're
gonna be
the opposite.
wrong. So I'm like, okay, that's probably digital. But again, the lettering, dude. I know I
But the
keep
one
calling it
before is
out.
the one before is practical.
This is practical. I just love the tones too, man. I think
Oh,
it's like I feel like it's not. Maybe it is easier than I think. I don't know, but I think that
like the tones.
yeah. But I
I
think,
mean,
but you also said you scanned in, right? You scanned in from an old Turtles comic,
so what? Yeah, because
right?
the
Yeah,
you can get kind of duotone brushes online. There's a True Grit texture supply, retro supply. They all do great texture stuff, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted in terms of how the duotone was applied.
mm-hmm.
So I scanned in, yeah, and I think it was Return to New York, and I measured the lines, and I adjusted or created, I forget at this point, brushes to kind of mimic the exact lines that were there and kind of the way the brush works. So if I go very lightly on the iPad, it won't. You'll get that kind. If you see at the bottom of the right hand page, see how it kind
Yeah,
of,
right here.
yeah, how it kind of fades out.
Yes,
That's if I barely, touch the screen with it, then it will barely put it on, just as if I was on a brush and I had a very little chemical on the thing. I just really wanted to mimic that the exact application. And also the reason it's quite organic looking is I try my best. Sometimes I cheat, but I try my best to go over it once. So I'll really act as if it's a duotone board, and if I make a mistake, I make a mistake.
that's dope.
Yeah, I just try.
I love the way he fucking just slices this dude in half. Schlip.
And then yeah, I decided, I was like, this, the head clan, I made them, I don't know what they are yet. And so
Mhm.
then I realized what they are, and they're all kind of organic cyborg androids. And I like how Hiroshi he doesn't care about Francine. He's like, you're safe. He's like, wait a second, there's something wrong here. The dialogue
Yeah.
in here
No
is,
time, citizen. Something's wrong. Look more closely. Look, there's no guts, no blood, and it looks as if he's dissolving. I don't know. You should go. You're safe now.
like,
Just tells her to go away.
just leave
And she's
now.
like, "Wait, can I help you? Maybe we can, you know."
Because you got to remember that she knows who he is. And sometimes as a comic artist, you lettering and stuff like that, you like, I think to myself, okay, I could draw beep, like I can draw the actual things beeping, and I could draw the thing, but I love adding the lettering as part of the drawing. Which actually, you see, there's a double page spread where I decided to just do that. Oh, then the head clan, just chaos now.
I know it feels chaotic too, with all the speed lines in the back going. Even the
Mm-hmm.
lettering, the way the lettering looks like manic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is a great double page. And then we got more like the elite head clan.
Yeah, exactly.
See it down his fucking throat with his fucking tongue sticking out.
Yeah. And then he's terrified.
Yeah.
So he's a hero, but he's not that heroic.
I know, just the way his eyes, like they're just pinpointed, and he
Yeah,
just
he's like, run, holy
yeah,
shit.
the action with him fucking grabbing her and taking off.
It's because I was running out of space on the page. So I was like, how high can I make those legs? And then, but he still has that false confidence, you know what I mean? Because he's like, negative optimal running technique. He's like, I'm totally sure about this. He's like, ninja always have a plan. He's just kind of.
I love too the use of this showing that she's out of bullets and just having
Mm.
this like little tiny like panel that runs along the page.
But I think I really attribute it to kind of thinking about it like a movie or a show, where at this point there would be a close up with a gun going, you know?
Yeah.
So it's really just I try to make it as cinematic
It's
as
funny though, because like some artists like probably wouldn't do that, and I think they wouldn't do it because maybe it's not the most fun to draw. Because
sure.
I feel like that's what you see sometimes. And in terms of, I've seen it recently, I would say at like a Marvel or a DC, right? Like where
Right.
it just looks like you're only doing the fun shit. Like you don't see it
Hmm.
enough of this anymore in
Sure.
mainstream comics, at least in the stuff I read. I don't
Right.
see like those close-ups, like where you're just looking at the eye or you're just
Hmm.
looking at the side profile or something. It's
Right.
like it's all about what can I do? Well, unless it's digital, I guess you can't sell your digital art, but like if it's drawn traditionally or
Sure.
practically, you want to resell the pages. And like to you, what you said is like you're not drawing for that. You're also not choosing what you draw practically as opposed to, digitally, because you're just drawing whatever is good for the story.
I mean, I think, when we're in a digital world we live in, is kind of people do want the Instagrammable panel,
Mm-hmm.
where sometimes I can't, if I did a close up of that panel, think it wouldn't, nobody would care about it, but it's integral to the story. So it's kind of, I think it's cause also you have a lot of artist and writer duos, and it's hard to have two people kind of competing for the I think that's what you feel sometimes on the page, is that people are competing
The
for the
space.
spotlight. Yeah, for the
Yeah.
spotlight. So you have the artist that wants to shine on every page and the writer that wants to shine on every page. Whereas the difference between, for example, like a Chris Claremont, is that he would leave pages blank if he didn't think I mean, I chose him as an example. He writes a lot, but
Yeah.
he would still sometimes serve the story. I think that's important. It's like in music, you say serve the song, where if
Mm-hmm.
the bass player just needs to do one note for the whole song, that serves the song, and then it works it.
I was gonna say digital for that at first because I'm like the scribble kind of looks like it could have been practical, but
But that one, no, that's digital, I think.
all
Yeah.
right, whatever.
I'm so sorry. I started this game.
It's all right. It's all right. I'm probably not gonna guess anymore now.
It's just
But
kind of also, if because I love Talking Heads. I do, not the band, but I like
yeah,
just having. So I like showing close-ups of things, because I don't
yeah, I
think you
love
need.
this particular angle of him running at us.
Yeah, with the kind of, it's like the head clan in the background.
Yeah,
It's blotches, but it reads as a crowd running towards you, I think.
I love
And
this
then,
particular pose too on the right.
yeah, the calm before the big fight scene throws her in a dumpster, like disrespect. He's just like, do it, don't
Plan in
care.
motion, minimal danger.
Yeah,
He just throws it.
exactly.
And then I love this too. You just see her in the dumpster. It's just her eyes. And she's
Yeah,
like, "This
yeah,
is his plan: hide in the dumpster and what? Hope the horde of ninjas just goes away."
yeah. And then he's like, finally a challenge.
Yeah,
And then you turn the page and you get the fights.
love this. I too. I love how his eyes are red because it just makes it so striking against like the black and white of the entire
Mhm.
comic.
And he's just slicing, and he's almost too powerful now. And then you see who looked, the elite head soldier looked
Mm-hmm.
so menacing in the first thing, and now he looks kind of frail and whatever. I like doing that too. It's like I don't want to stick. I like to change how the characters look throughout the book depending on the mood.
This one, dude. This one must have been fun to do.
This one was great, yeah, because I didn't want to just show him fighting from another angle, because I just did that for 2 pages.
Yeah.
So I was like, what's a way that I can show her perspective, without, so she's barely seeing anything because she's in a dumpster, but she's hearing everything. And then, so you have the big slice, boom, you hear them saying, spare me, critical damage, too strong, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end, on the other page, you get the words get smaller and smaller as they funked, pow, chop, scum, cutting, bush,
Mm-hmm.
click, bing, dang, bong, chick, clang, tick, swoop, pan, bit, ting, boot, flock, like, bang, ting, tung, tang, ting, ling, 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 just kind of
Yeah.
like the last bolt kind of falls, and then he
Uh-huh.
opens the door.
He's the way he talks here too. Get out of the dumpster.
Yeah, I know, he's so rude. It's like
Yeah.
nobody cares. It's like you're done. And then you have the head clan in the trash can.
I love too, and like she calls him Hiroshi, and
She
he doesn't
slips up.
know. Yeah.
She slips up, and she knows it. She's like,
No,
"Fuck." And he's just like, "What did you call?" Because it's the first time he gets called a name. Because remember, at this point, Master Plank is a plank of wood, and he's just on his own. He's just running
right.
around. He has this urge to fight scum, but
Hmm.
we'll find out later it's his underlying mission, which is, to avenge his father.
I know, and we got him when he's like bowing to, the plank
Yeah.
of wood and stuff.
Yeah.
And he jumped out like he's still talking. Master Plank
Yeah.
is still talking to him, but she's like, this
Yeah.
is worse than I thought. He's batshit crazy.
Yeah. It's like, oh my God, this is insane. And it was at this moment that I decided, oh yeah, and
Oh, go ahead.
the color reveal. It was at this moment I decided I wanted to bring Master Plank into a more, prominent role. Because it's a fun gag to have him be the plank of wood. But I was like, but why is he a plank of wood? Because maybe he's not. And then the sculler reveal.
I love that there's nothing really on his face, but he still looks like there's a little bit of like terrifyingness to him,
A little bit
at
of
the
what?
lack, like how he is a little terrifying, even like because you
Yeah,
don't know what's behind there.
exactly. And it's the, I mean, humans, we look to the eyes and the face for any cues of emotion.
Yeah,
So when you see nothing, it's just kind of like, oh, what's going on?
another great fucking issue. Your letter,
Yeah,
your little letter to the readers. I always love reading those.
my little editorial.
Yeah,
Keep on being super.
Country Gentleman, which is still not out. I'm waiting for this. Is the one I'm waiting for
Oh yeah,
because I know
you're
you've been working on it,
ish. Yeah.
right? Like I think one of the times we talked recently, you're doing it in between other stuff, right? Like you're going back and forth to it, or
Yeah, it's one of those low priority books. I'm just
okay.
kind of, whenever I feel like drawing it, I go to it.
Was this the one you talked about kind of doing like a European style, maybe like a hardcover? Is that what we talked
Exactly.
about? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, the Super Racer. I have a lot of fun with these, like writing the copy for these because a part of me wishes I had been like an ad man in the 60s, of course, or like I want to be in an episode of Mad Men and just think of these kinds of,
These are one of my it's one of my favorite parts of the book
oh yeah,
is seeing
the
what
ads.
ads you're gonna do. Like once I hit that page where it says the end, I'm like, okay, what ads does he
Yeah,
have in the back,
Well, that's what because ads nowadays are so annoying. I wanted to bring back the feeling of like cool ads.
Yeah. And then you have this, the action
Yeah.
figure
Yeah.
that became an action figure, dude.
Well, actually, yeah, this one's a little more advanced. The actual ad is in issue 2. If
Which
you do you have issue 2 handy?
yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So that's the issue that's the ad I based the design of the toy on. And shout out to the A's toy box. Andre,
Yes.
he's a great. If you flip to the back of the toy, you'll see his name at the bottom there, A's toy box. He did a great job, meticulous on like speed, hand painted each one, labor of love. I think he's actually coming out with some toys of his own soon, like his own design.
Nice. No,
Yeah,
this is great packaging, dude. I mean, look,
yeah,
like super professional the way that
absolutely.
this is put together.
And it's all by hand. It's
Yeah.
it's fantastic. And it was a great collaboration because I designed the box, the back, and he put it all together. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. So go pick. You still got any left?
I think I got a couple.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, go pick up the toy. It's fucking dope. And then we
And then
got
so funny, yeah, the last ad there, the coming soon, is because I was gonna send them in space. Because
this isn't the cover to 4.
no, it doesn't yeah.
This is the cover to 4, which we'll talk about next time. But yeah, it's interesting to see that you went a different route in
I
between
did
issues.
because you know what happened? I was thinking about the Ninja Turtles and how they go to space. And I was like, ooh, if I'm keeping this homage thing going, then I want to send them to space too. But the more I thought about it, the less it served the story. And so I was like, all right, well, the homage was the couple first issues. Now it's time to branch off and go into its own like it already started happening. So let me just continue on in its own natural
Yeah.
thing.
That is Steel Streets 3, another great issue. I'm
Yeah.
excited. We'll talk 4 next time we talk some other superhero comics.
Yeah.
I love doing this with you, dude. And for everybody
My
watching, make sure you check out. I have a lot of there's a lot of Mahdi stuff on my channel. I think we've
Oh yeah.
3 interviews. this will be the fourth creator commentary we've done. So definitely check all those things out. And I'm gonna have all Mahdi's links down below so you guys go pick up his stuff. He's got a lot of dope comics, got some toys left. And yeah, dude, I look forward to doing the next issue, doing some other stuff.
Thanks, man. Yeah, my pleasure.